Well, I met Breige at sessions. I moved down from Belfast 2006. I've been to Belfast 26 years. So it was trying to find your feet in a town that has changed a lot in 26 years. And there wasn't much left of the Newry that I knew, to be honest. You know, it's all different, you know. And people didn't feel safe walking up the street. You know, people felt safe walking up the street even when the troubles were at the height of the troubles. You had no problem walking around your town. You know, and really the only fear was maybe meeting the army in a bad mood or something, or the police. But there was no fear of, you know, that's other sort of crimes and something on the other, you know. But anyway, when I came down in 2006, it was, I started to listen to a few sessions and started 10 sessions. And mainly out around Rostrevor and up around Forkhill and so on. And Breige would be at the occasional session, and Dundalk, of course, as well. Spirit Store, it was a popular place at the time, and still is, but it was popular with a good session at that time, wasn't it? Yeah, great sessions. And so we bumped into Breige a few times there, and then gradually we sort of started to fall into the same areas, I suppose, you know, and then realising she's much better at words than I am. She is. She is, I can tell you. Just has never used it.
Words.
Yeah, there's a couple of good choice ones, all right, yeah. No, it's true, because using words is strong in her family with their uncle Mick Quinn. And I would have known Mick, I knew Mick before I knew you. And I liked hanging out with him, you know, he was great sharp wit on him, you know, he was writing right up to the end of his life. And shall we say, he wasn't afraid to push the boundaries in lots of ways, I can tell you. He was brilliant. And Breige says that Jean's in her too, as you know Brian. And you sort of get to know this crowd of people that move around. Now, the Rostrevor crowd were a bit different than the Armagh crowd. You know, I'm not saying one was better than the other, but Rostrevor was busier. And there's a lot more musicians, I think, around Rostrevor. And you would I think it's probably, I found Armagh was probably a bit more, we were probably a bit more open, I think. Maybe a bit more relaxed or something, a bit more open. But, you know, it was all good anyway, you know, it was all good. Bumping into musicians, and I would have known the Sounds for years, and I was sort of getting down to talk to them an odd time, you know, it's nice people. And of course Alfie Carr and all these guys, you know, they're a good bunch of people. So song and music tradition is very strong in the area, and then I just recorded an album before I came down, it was in 2006, and so then I did another one in 2013, I think it was, 2013, so 2 albums done, all original material, and I've got some other material lined up that I have to record, but just haven't got around to it yet. Loads of new material, and I like to try and keep it topical if I can. And sometimes you might be getting an odd job where you're paid to write a song, you know, for something. I suppose that's a bit like the old tradition again, only this time we're getting paid for it. And so a few of those have come in. And yeah, it's great, I like it. It's good for me, I think. Good for my head. I think overall quite well. Sometimes maybe some people mightn't get the meaning, you know, if you know what I mean. Like something like a wee bit of satire might get lost sometimes, you know. But something like Leslie, there's a song which mentions, you know, the hills around Leslie, and that's that's been well received. It's been taken on at a few occasions for people to sing it, and thanks to Gotcha, who've recorded it. I haven't even recorded it myself, but they've recorded first, and thankfully seems to be, you know, slowly moving in the right direction. And a few other songs have done, but there's a lot more to do, which is why I'm going to have to learn how to master the recording, otherwise I'm never going to get them done. Yeah, I do like to try and keep it reasonably recent if I can, because I think there's an awful lot of stuff to write about nowadays, and I think that maybe it appears to me maybe they were shying away from hot topics, which it's folk music's meant to be able to handle those sorts of things. Some of the materials around the Troubles, like the Jimmy Reevy song, probably to me the most important song for me that I've written, because I knew the guys. Was there that night. I was there then, right beside our house where the King's Mills massacre happened. So all that stuff left, I think, a big dent in your memory. And other songs, I don't know. I suppose Leslie is a made-up song, but it's not about a real person, but it's based on, on some people, 2 or 3 characters, and even like the topical things, shopping and all these sorts of things, like TK Maxx and all this nonsense. But I like it, it amuses me. Little amuses the innocent, That's what they say. I think that, there's a lot of sad songs in Ireland, but as you say. But it's good to have a bit of a laugh, though, I think so. Got to be careful, though, where you play them. We're going down to Ballyvaughan. Remember what happened to Ballyvaughan? You were in, of course you were. Oh, you weren't in the bar?
No, I wasn't. Yeah.
Myself and Brian went to a bar, so it was a singing bar. And they were all playing away to tunes in the other bar, but there was no instruments, so we went in and a nice bar and everybody singing away, taking their turn, nice and orderly, and there was sad songs and funny songs and this and that and the other. So Brian sang brilliantly as usual, and then he turned around and says, "Finbar, you sing that song, sing that one by Contraceptive Train." You see, so I gave it a rattle, and as I could see it seemed to, people got it, the satire and the humour. Apart from one lady, she didn't look too amused, so. And at the end of the song, her husband, who was right beside her, he was laughing away, and she was sitting very tight-lipped. As she walked out through the door, she bent down to my ear and says, "I hope you're happy that we got abortion through too." And I went, "Oh God, all right." It's completely missed the target, here, so, I actually followed her right to explain it to her, that this is the idea of to avoid that situation, So, but anyway, that's sometimes you can't account for what way people are going to react. It's a song that I haven't recorded yet, and I haven't even practiced it right yet. It's for a project about A.E. Russell. Have you heard of A.E. Russell? I'd never heard of him. He was a guy who was very influential in all sorts of ways in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. Supposed to be 500,000 people at his funeral in Dublin in 1835. Yet if you go to look for a photograph, you can't find one. It's kind of weird. He got Mary Poppins, he knew the author of Mary Poppins, Pamela Travers, and helped her to format the characters and get it all going, and got the book, basically gave her a hand to get the whole thing written. And then they based the chimney, up on the rooftops where they're doing the old bamboo, all that sort of stuff. That's based in Brownlow House up in Portadown. Yeah, that's where he took her, and that's where they got this idea for the set. He also set up the original farming co-ops all around Ireland. He was called on by a guy, what was his name?
I can't remember, but it was like the...
There was an Irish agricultural organisation
or something like that.
And just after the famine, I suppose, and then he went around and got on a bicycle, took the bicycle on the train, and then went on the train all around Ireland. Took him years, then to all the little back roads into villages and whatever else, and showed them how to set up co-ops. And then on top of that, he mentored W.B. Yeats, and he mentored Patrick Kavanagh, and all sorts of things.
He's an artist as well.
He's an artist and a writer himself, and a poet and songwriter, and this and that and the other. But he never saw himself in that role. He saw himself as a mentor, to help people to better themselves. So he got known at that time, and Van Morrison has a song written about him called Into the Mystic, which I've heard the song and didn't realise what it was about. You know, I only realised lately that this is who it's about. So there's a commission on that work. I have the song written, but I haven't got it rehearsed yet. But the song is written. I've just been mucking around with the melody, you know, trying to get it a bit more interesting. But yeah, E. Russell, check him out. You know, he's just an amazing character. No, he was a very unusual character, and that was a commission that I got from it was mainly to Patrick O'Donnell, wasn't it? He lectures in English in the college over in, where is it?
Minnesota?
In Minnesota somewhere. And he was involved in the Irish Choctaw Connection, that project, you see, right? And there was a commission for a song about that, so I wrote a song for that connection. And then when I got to know him, he asked, would you be interested in writing one for this one, you see, so... Yeah, so it was a bit tricky actually, because you had that many sides to them, you didn't know where to start. That's what I thought anyway, you know, so, but it's written and hopefully it'll come out all right. What's the difference?
Yeah, Daddy is the second youngest in a family of 10, and his the oldest would have been 15 years older than Daddy. Yeah. Daddy would have... Daddy liked singing songs that were a bit light-hearted and that weren't that long. So he would tend to, he would be like a few verses and a chorus or two, and that'll do all right. He left the singing of the longer songs to other people. Daddy would be out in the farm even when we were children, and he would have been doing the milking or whatever it was, working about on the farm. He'd always be singing. So I think, you know, whenever that's his time to go and practice these things and learn them when there's nobody else about, and you can, you'd hear him.
Singing.
The neighbours used to say they'd hear him singing on a clear summer's evening, like, you know, you could hear.
He was way over the field in the tractor and you could hear him singing. You know, he was singing away. You are aware he's probably one of the few people around here that's played at the Cambridge Folk Festival. Brian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, himself and Mommy. And Mommy's brother, Martin, both Mommy and Martin have passed away now. They had a wee group called the Roving Trio, and Daddy's sister lived in Cambridge at the time, and so there must have been some way through that they ended up, they played, I think we have one photo, but we came upon the wee... programme, so I have that, and maybe there are wee wristbands and stuff like that. So there's 5 of those, and it must have been Mommy and Daddy and Uncle Martin, and then Daddy's sister and her husband, Kay and Bill. There was 5 of these wee wristbands or whatever, and so there's myself and my sister and brother, and then I have 2 cousins, Uncle Martin's 2 kids. So I was like, I need to do something with these 5. You know, there's one for each of us. You know. So I need to find it.
Yeah, so there you are. Yeah, that would have been back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Well, like Cambridge Folk Festival would have been fairly happening at that time.
Yeah. Oh, I think we had a great time, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Mommy played the banjo, and Mommy would have been self-taught, I suppose, as lots of people were at that time. And so Mommy, we say that, like, you know, we might have got our music as, you know, from Mommy and from Daddy, but we really owe Mommy for bringing us to music lessons every Saturday morning, and she was the one that would have sit down with us and practiced, or, you know, put us over the tunes to make sure we were doing them right. So we can have our gratitude to all the time that she put in. But yeah, loads of lovely memories from growing up, and just the music was always there. So like the Cultus and Forkhill on a Tuesday night, we knew that every Tuesday night in life, that's where Mommy and Daddy went from we were very small. And then when we started playing a bit of music, it was, you know, whenever you get your first few tunes off, then, you know, you can come to Forkhill as well. And so then when you were getting your first outings to the session that they were always going to, that was a big deal. And it was because it was on a Tuesday night then, we used to come home from school, get our dinner and do our bit of homework very quick, and then we go to bed maybe for an hour and a half and get up and go to the session, and then you'd maybe be home from the session at 11 or half 11 and away to bed again. But it was great because you had, you know, that's where you got your wee bit of encouragement. Good girl there, yes, you're playing that right. And, you know, you went home then feeling great and, you know, do a wee bit more practice and go back the following week and get another tune, you know. Yeah. My sister Patricia, she plays the button accordion, and my brother, or younger brother John, he doesn't play. He was given the opportunity to play, but he likes music now, and he would like his children to play, but he didn't stick at it. Yeah. So, but yeah, flas and things like that was our, you know, our family holidays and everything when we were younger and growing up. It was always had a focus on music wherever you went. You know, you were going because there was a wee music festival or the fla was on or something like that. Yeah.
You were blessed in lots of ways around that time.
Yeah.
You know, to have that, because of mayhem that was going on like around South Armagh.
Yeah.
And yet you had that focus.
We had, and we were very, like so we had the Cultus on a Tuesday night, and then there was the Straley Folk Club was in the Peg Craw, as it was called, out the back of O'Hanlon's pub in Mullaghbawn. O'Hanlon's, unfortunately, has gone by the wayside as a public house now, but it was a brilliant place for it. Every Friday and Saturday night it would have been hopping with music, and
and every funeral in the village.
Yeah,
that's right. Oh.
That is true. And but the Straley Folk Club, that was like just in a shed out the back of the pub. But as children, we got to go there and hear Joe Burke and Mary Bergen and Jackie Daly and Martin Hayes and Steve.
Anybody and everybody.
Oh, the guitar player,
Steve
Cooney. Yeah, and so many more besides Frankie Gavin as well. Oh, yeah. You know, and it was to just think that they were all coming to. You know, you go up and pay.
A wee bar in Mullaghbawn.
Would it have been a fiver in, probably?
Had they were playing gigs? Or
yeah,
just a session?
Yeah, no, they
gigs.
came and they played a wee gig. Yeah, and then I suppose the session away all night after that. But we would have been home in our beds. But yeah, so we would have been brought up to that. I'm sure. You know, Daddy would have said that they would have known, like whoever was doing the door. Maybe Jerry O'Hanlon or Jim Flynn or something like that. Like, you know, we would have just charged Mummy and Daddy, and me and Patricia would have got in for nothing. Like, we would have been probably the only two children in the place. But whereas that has completely changed now, and you go to any of the local music classes locally, and they're bursting at the seams with children learning music. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are a teacher, I've heard of.
Well, I do a wee bit teaching. Yeah, I've kind of done it in fits and starts over the years, but back doing a wee bit now, and yeah, enjoying it. And I have a wee niece who is hopefully going to learn the fiddle, so I would love to be just giving her a few pointers too. Yeah, our music teacher was a man called John Murphy from Cullyhanna direction, and John had a show band, John Murphy's show band, and Susan McCann would have sang with him back in the day. And he taught so many people. I suppose in the locality, no matter whether you were going to play a fiddle or a banjo or an accordion or a whistle, he taught you. You know, so he's left a good legacy behind. Yeah.